Survivor has been full of iconic players, blindsides, and moments throughout its 41-season, 21-year history. And even in the worst of seasons, there's bound to be a moment that stands the test of time in Survivor lore. And sometimes, a moment is so iconic that even people who don't watch Survivor anymore remember where they were when they watched a specific Survivor scene from 10 years ago. What's going on, guys? I'm Flynn Masters, and today we'll be looking at the most iconic moment from every Survivor season. This will be split up into two parts, with this first one covering seasons 1 through 20. And remember, these are the most iconic moments, not necessarily the best in-game moves, although those will appear sporadically throughout the list. And obviously, a lot of seasons, especially in the first 20, have so many great moments from each season that it's going to be pretty hard to choose just one moment. Then again, there's some seasons where it's hard to think of any iconic moments, or at the very least, the far and away most iconic moment is iconic for all the wrong reasons. And speaking of that, I'm going to try to avoid the bad iconic moments, even if they are the most iconic thing about that season. But with all that said, I think I have chosen good picks for every season, so let's jump right into it with Survivor Borneo. And I mean, despite Borneo being the season that started it all, I think this one is actually pretty obvious. Sure, there's fun gameplay from these players trying to learn the game throughout the season, with the merge vote being on top of the list. You have everything involving Richard Hatch throughout the season, and all the other small but great moments. But I think the clear pick here, and possibly the most iconic moment in all of Survivor history, is Sue Hawk's Snakes and Rats speech. And the speech was exactly what it sounded like. A likable and underdog player like Kelly could be viewed as a rat by the players out there, while the schemish and overconfident Rich was viewed as a snake. It summed up the social aspect of Survivor to a T. This speech has stood the test of time in Survivor, with of course over 50 million people watching it live in 2000, and I think all 50 million still remember it fondly to this day.
I plead to the jury tonight to think a little bit about the island that we have been on. This island is pretty much full of only two things: snakes and rats. And in the end of Mother Nature, we have Richard the Snake, who knowingly went after prey, and Kelly, who turned into the rat that ran around like the rats do on this island, trying to run from the snake. I feel we owe it to the island's spirits that we have learned to come to know, to let it be in the end the way Mother Nature intended it to be, for the snake to eat the rat.
After the massive success of Borneo, Survivor continued to be a cultural hit, with the Australian Outback being its most overall watched season ever. However, with all the viewers, there were plenty of skeptics about whether Survivor was real or not. Those questions all went away after Skupin fell into the fire in episode 6. Not only did this show just how real Survivor was to the viewers, but it is especially satisfying to watch present day, since Skupin is probably the most despised Survivor player ever.
You okay? Oh! Oh my God! He's burnt pretty bad, Terry. Here's the water. What happened? Passed out in the fire. Passed out, fell in the fire. Passed out in the fire. Stay in the water, stay in the water.
Do you want me to come in with you, Mike, and come with you?
You passed out? I was blowing on the fire and the smoke went right in my face, and I inhaled it. And I passed out. Look at these things.
Keep your hands in the water.
Oh, my God.
I can't decide whether I should keep trying to bend them or not.
No, don't. Mike.
Think.
Hang on. Now,
Just leave him there.
don't get out in the deep in case you pass out.
Yeah, I'm nervous he's gonna fall.
Oh, they just keep. It keeps intense.
I know, Mike.
Don't get out in the deep, Mike.
I'm
Don't
not.
get out.
I'm not. I'm on my. Oh, they're stiffening up.
You're good. Okay, Mike. They're coming right now. Just leave your stuff right where you are. Mike. They're gonna put stuff on there, Mike. You're gonna feel good. They'll wrap it up for you. You're good. Stay strong, Mike. Stay strong.
Speaking of brutal, in Season 3, Survivor had arguably its most brutal season ever when they threw the contestants into the depths of Kenya, Africa, as the players had to deal with the scorching heat and literally had dangerous animals mere miles away from them. However, even more brutal than the conditions was the actions of the young players on Samburu. After they took over the numbers, they basically outcasted the older players in Frank, T-Bird, and Linda, even telling the three who to vote for in episode 4. Like, are you kidding me? That entire young group was super unlikable, with Silas being the main culprit. However, it all ended up with an extremely satisfying conclusion, as Survivor had its first ever twist.
Brought you back to this original drop point where it all began for what I think is going to be a pretty interesting day. As you guys have certainly figured out by now, the game of Survivor is always changing, and it's about to change again. If you guys could give me your buffs. Lex, thank you. Silas, Teresa, Frank, you guys are now members of Baran.
Oh my God.
Kelly, Lex, Tom, you guys are now members of Samburu.
Smokes.
This couldn't have gone any better. Not only did Silas get completely screwed, as he literally had no allies on the new Baran tribe, but Lindsay and Brandon also screwed up the last chance to salvage the numbers when they talked about past votes out loud. The first twist in Survivor history could not have gone any better, or be more satisfying for the viewers at home. When it comes to the Marquesas, I think there's a very clear top two, the flip and the rock draw. However, I think very clearly, one changed Survivor a lot more than the other. While the rock draw was certainly memorable, it was obviously incredibly unfair to Paschal, and is often viewed as a low point in early Survivor history when it comes to not thinking long term. However, the flip on John Carroll really changed Survivor. Up until that point, we had never seen a flip, and the very next season, we saw Brian Heidik play the game the same way it looked like John would this season, and dominate his way to a win. The flip that consisted of 2 players on the bottom, 1 player in nobody's plans, and 2 players who knew they weren't in the core 6 was really something to watch play out, as they all came together and really paved the way for players like Rob C., Johnny Fairplay, and other players throughout the years to play Survivor and flipping on their alliance when the time was right.
I think the way that immunity came down, the coconut chopping and all, I think it signaled to us that there was a pecking order and we were included in it, even though we'd been told that that wasn't true.
When we saw the coconuts, they hacked down John's, you know, these, just in the order that they were going to eliminate us. I've been nothing but honest to everybody. I'm following my heart today. I would be lying to my heart and to myself if I went up there and voted for Sean tonight. This is really how I feel, Paschal. If me and you are going to get anywhere towards the end, we have to do this.
Well,
we would be fools not to. I'm not going to go out 5th or 6th. We've worked too hard. We've been here for too long, worked too hard, and I'm not going to go out like that.
The 8th person voted out, first member of our jury, John.
No need to read the last vote.
John, the tribe has spoken.
Survivor Thailand. Oh boy, what to choose. As I somewhat mentioned, the obvious noteworthy moment from this season is a dark cloud in the Survivor franchise, with the Grindgate incident. We then got a fake merge, which, while unexpected, absolutely sucked, screwed over Xian, and ruined any possible good that could happen in the post-merge. So for me, the most iconic and great overall moment from this season is Rob's arc throughout the season. I've talked about it before, just how underrated Rob's arc is in Thailand, as he went from this skater boy douchebag to growing into an overall great person, all in a span of 18 days. His vote-off is just an overall heartwarming moment, and one of the only good things to come out of Thailand.
Rob, it's 4 votes. That's enough. Need to bring me your torch. Rob, the tribe has spoken.
Thanks, brother. Much love, dude. You guys rule. Good luck. Play hard, dude. For real. You guys are all with me. My hats are off to you. Much love.
When it comes to the Amazon, there's so many great blindsides, created by Mr. RHAP himself, Rob Cesternino. You have Dina's blindside, then Rob flipping on Alex after he told Rob he was on the bottom, and then voting out the swing vote in Christie. It's all so good. But the most iconic moment from this season comes in the Merge Immunity Challenge. This season already had a bunch of horny comments from the guys' camp, as this was the first men versus women season, and the guys were drooling over the women. But then, during the Immunity Challenge, their horny dreams came true when peanut butter came into the mix.
I'll take my proposal out for chocolate and peanut butter.
Get the girls some chocolate and peanut butter probes.
If you have coal, I'm so in.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, Jenna, Heidi.
Wow, he produces. Damn.
2 ice cold colas, 1 heaping plate of rich peanut butter.
Okay.
You guys can share. Big tray, chocolate cookies.
Heidi, you want to do it? Yeah. All right.
Oh, God, why me? Why did you guys? I'm not looking. Nope. I gotta stay focused.
Where can I keep my clothes?
I'm looking.
Heidi, just pull your pants down to your ankle.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not looking.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, my God.
Ta-da!
All the kids at school, I'm not looking.
Nobody's looking. You guys aren't even trying to tempt these guys off with this.
I am
No.
looking. I'm looking. Are you kidding me?
Heidi, you want to jump in?
Yep.
All right, let's
Hold
go.
on, I gotta get my shorts. Are they around your ankles?
That's in the drink.
Come on over, girls.
You lost your buff there, Eddie.
It's 30 minutes in. It's going to take a little while for another deal.
Big round of applause.
They earned their reward for sure.
Well done.
The Pearl Islands is one of, if not the best Survivor season. It features arguably its most iconic player ever in Rupert, who fit the pirate theme so well. And we got the birth of the Survivor legend, Sandra Diaz-Twine. However, I think it's very clear what the most iconic moment from this season is, as it's right up there with Sue's speech for not only being an iconic Survivor moment, but an iconic TV moment. And that is, of course, Johnny Fairplay's dead grandma lie. Knowing if he got to this point, he would need to start thinking about jury votes, so Fairplay did the unthinkable and lied about his grandma's death in front of millions of people.
Final 7.
Huh?
She died, dude. Did you get the letter? Did you go in it? It'll be alright, man.
John, you went from really happy to really sad.
It was either going to be my buddy or my grandmother coming, and my grandmother's not here for a reason.
What happened?
She's not around. So,
Sorry for that news. I'm sure everybody here is sorry.
I don't know. I can hope to win this and get some more information.
Oh, man.
That was a brilliant performance, sir. Like that? Yeah, thank you. Did you like mine? I couldn't cry. I tried. I brought on a couple tears for you. It was sweat.
My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer right now.
So there's my autograph right in the center.
There it is.
The snake.
This is a game for $1 million. I have one chance in my life at this. You should take every single advantage possible. If you don't, you're a fool.
Simply iconic, and a moment that had even non-Survivor fans talking back in 2003. Survivor All-Stars is definitely a dark season. Between the lack of big blindsides, the uncomfortable moments that led to lost friendships, and the quits, there's not a lot to pick from in Survivor's most star-studded season. However, let's face it, for better or for worse, this was the season of Boston Rob and Amber, and their love was on full force this season. So much so that the producers knew that the two were on their way to dominate the game, with some even speculating that they intentionally swap-screwed Amber at the swap. However, Rob used his real-life friendship with Lex to save his newfound love in Amber, only to turn his back on Lex in arguably the most ruthless betrayal in Survivor history.
And now I'm back.
If you can.
Lex, move it out. 9th person voted out of Survivor All-Stars. Jerry, that's 3 votes, that's enough. Need to bring me a torch.
You're asking me to screw everybody else now.
You got more allegiance to them than you got to me. After asking me for a special
I made
friend
an agreement
favor.
with them. I asked you for a favor.
It's about being betrayed by my friend.
Right.
It's about getting a knife in the back.
Like, honestly, I don't know what you want me to say, Lex. I know, like...
I want you to say that you're gonna be true to the word you gave me.
The word I gave you, make no mistake about it, Lex. Between you and I, and you want to put our friendship on the line, I'll put our friendship on the line over this. The word I gave you was that if I can take care of you, I will. I'm sorry, I cannot.
10th person voted out of Survivor All-Stars and the first member of our jury, Lex. That's 5, that's enough. You need to bring me your torch.
And again, this whole sequence of events is very uncomfortable to watch play out. But in the end, this was arguably Boston Rob's signature move in his Survivor career. And considering now him and Amber are married with 4 kids, I think it's really cool to look back and see that he really did love Amber, and it wasn't just a Survivor showmance, and he really was willing to do whatever it took to save her, even if it meant backstabbing his real-life friends. For as underrated of a season Vanuatu is, I wouldn't say there's an actual big-time Survivor moment this season. However, the reason this season is so good was due to Chris's underdog run, and it all started with one of the most underrated blindsides in Survivor history. Going into the final 7, Chris was the obvious target, with Eliza being right behind him. However, maybe in the slight chance that there would be a blindside, you would think that it would either be the Minority Alliance flipping on the leader in Amy, or Amy's Core Alliance finally having enough of Twyla and would blindside either her or her closest ally in Scout. I think going into the episode, Leanne and Julie were the least likely to go home. Heck, Leanne even told her loved one she was safe. Yet, somehow, someway, the unlikely 4 of Scout, Twyla, Chris, and Eliza were all able to come together to blindside Leanne and ultimately be the start of Chris's amazing comeback.
Let me use Scout her.
If you would just get Eliza, so if you want to change this whole outlook, vote this way, you've got 3 other people backing you up.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Scout's a guarantee.
Guaranteed. I swore on my son's name, may God forgive me for saying that, because it's not the right thing to do, but it's time for something to change. Amy and Leanne just act like they're so much better than everybody else, and they got this all wrapped up in their back pocket, and it just freaking pisses me off.
12th person voted out of Survivor Vanuatu. Leanne, you need to bring me your torch. Leanne, tribe has spoken.
We have another easy choice here for Survivor Palau. And no, Wanda's Wandoff is not the most iconic moment from this season, believe it or not. The moment, or should I say, 12-hour challenge, literally broke Survivor as Tom and Ian dueled it out in the Baba Booey challenge for nearly half a day. It was essentially a $1 million challenge for the two, whose storyline with each other was the main driving force of the season, and it all came to a climax in a challenge that forced Survivor to abandon the How Bad Do You Want It Final Muni challenge.
I said all along that friendship was more important. I feel like the longer we sit up here, the more and more I feel like a traitor to that and a traitor to myself. So, yeah, I'll do it.
Ian steps down. Tom wins. Final immunity.
I'm kind of cheating here for Guatemala, as similar to Vanuatu, there's not a massive standout moment from this season. However, this season is the absolute king of salty blindside reactions.
Jamie, tribe has spoken.
Blindsided. Nice! Now that's how you vote somebody out.
Ladies. 14th person voted out of Survivor Guatemala. Cindy, that's 3 votes, that's enough. You need to bring me your torch.
Think about you guys when I see the stars through my sunroof with my new car.
13th person voted out of Survivor Guatemala. Judd.
Thanks, guys. Hope you guys all get bit by a freaking crocodile.
Scumbags.
Judd, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Scumbags.
In Survivor Panama, Survivor gave us the birth of the legendary Cirie Fields. And while Cirie did a great job of reaching the final 6 after starting the game on the bottom, her real signature move came at the final 6 when she pulled off the first ever 3-2-1 vote in Survivor history. And man, was it epic to watch unfold.
I'm confident with Courtney and Danielle, and I'm feeling pretty damn good. We're going to send ours home, and with that, we'll have a 3-2 advantage, and you know what? It's going to be nice.
What did you talk to Courtney?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Well, she put me aside to make sure I was in with the thing to vote Danielle.
Courtney, are you okay? You
I
sure?
mean, no, nothing's okay, but...
Right, but I mean, this is the game. That's it. Danielle, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we each move on one more spot.
Shane wants to take Courtney to the final 2. He's told me that. Terry wants to take Courtney to the final 2. That, to me, makes Courtney the most dangerous person out here. I want to kind of mess up Terry's plans and mess up Shane's plans, and hopefully we get rid of Courtney next, and then it could possibly give me, Urs, and Danielle a little more leverage in this game.
First vote. Urs. Danielle. Urs. 2 votes Urs. 1 vote Danielle. Courtney. That's 1 vote Courtney. 2 votes Urs. 1 vote Danielle. Courtney. That's 2 votes Courtney. 2 votes Urs. 1 vote Danielle. The 11th person voted out of Survivor Exile Island. Courtney, need to grab your torch.
That was a shocker.
For the Cook Islands, I think you could argue that Becky and Sunja's fire-making challenge is super iconic for how bad it was. But again, I don't want to focus on the negative. And Ozzy and Yule's 5-4 vote is definitely the most competitive final tribal council ever, as the two played complete opposite games, yet they were both games respected by the jury. But I think the most iconic moment from this season, while not an on-paper iconic moment, this is quite honestly one of, if not the most important moment in Survivor history. That moment is Nate's blindside at the final 9. This basically gave the I2 the numbers the rest of the way, and eventually would pull off the 8-4 comeback to make it all the way to the final 4. I've talked about this before, but long story short, if Penner didn't flip and one of the Raros won the game, there's a strong chance Survivor wouldn't be on anymore. So yeah, this vote, in a way, saved Survivor.
Nate, we're tied. 4 votes Yule, 4 votes Nate, 1 vote left. 12th person voted out and the 4th member of our jury. Nate, unless you have the hidden immunity idol, Nate, you need to bring me your torch. Nate, tribe has spoken.
Survivor Fiji. Yes, believe it or not, it took 14 seasons for Survivor to film at its current home. But the first season on Survivor's favorite location was below average, to say the least. A lot of unlikable characters, boring gameplay, and the most iconic moment from this season was a super sad thing to watch play out, as Yao-Man took advantage of poor Dreams, who desperately needed a car, but would go on to turn his back on Yao-Man, and a guy who went through so much in life became a unanimously hated Survivor player. So for me, the most iconic moment from this season is a move that literally changed Survivor, and that is Game Changer Stacy safe vote plan at the final 9. Keep in mind, not only was this genius in general, but this was the first season with the new rules of the idol that is still used to this day. The majority 5 had the numbers over the 4 horsemen, but knew that the horsemen had an idol that could potentially blow up their plans. However, Dreams flipped on the horsemen and told the majority Mookie gave his idol to Alex, and so they should vote for Mookie. However, not knowing if they could trust Dreams, Stacy threw out Edgardo's name, and thus, the safe vote plan was created.
Okay, if anybody has the hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now is the time to do so.
Edgardo. That's 3 votes Cassandra. 1 vote Mookie, 1 vote Edgardo. Tenth person voted out and the 4th member of our jury, Edgardo. Need to bring me your torch. Edgardo, tribe has spoken.
Survivor China arguably produces the best newbie cast in Survivor history, with James being the highlight, as he not only won fan favorite this season, but would win it again the very next season, simply for being that popular in China. However, despite James being a beloved character, he'll be forever known for not playing either one of his idols at the Final 7, the first true hilarious dumbfounding move in Survivor history.
Once the votes are read, the decision is final. The person voted out will be asked to leave the tribal council area immediately.
If anyone has a hidden immunity idol, now would be the time to play it.
I'll read the votes. 10th person voted out and the 4th member of our jury. James, that's 4, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
Speaking of dumb moves, let's talk about Micronesia. Sure, it was amazing to see Ozzy and Jason blindsided with idols in their pockets, but come on, the blindside we saw at the Final 5 of Micronesia made James's heir a year prior look like nothing. Of course I'm talking about the dumbest move in Survivor history, Eric giving up his immunity necklace at the Final 5.
Eric, you have the individual immunity necklace. As always, you can give it up to somebody if you choose to. Otherwise, it is yours and you are safe tonight.
This is a very tough decision for me for a lot of reasons. As a competitor, I've always said, you know what, keep your fate in your own hands, but there's so many things weighing on my mind. I've made a lot of mistakes in the past couple days, and I know that actions do speak louder than words. I want to give individual immunity to Natalie.
Thirteenth person voted out and the 6th member of our jury, Eric. That's 3, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
You guys drive me crazy.
I've lost my ring as dumbest survivor ever.
Not only was this obviously an iconic dumb move, but everything leading up to this was also amazing. From the Black Widow Brigade's amazing gameplay to not even hiding the votes, this is truly a moment that stands the test of time in Survivor. Oh, Survivor Gabon, how big of a train wreck you are. Again, similar to Guatemala, I almost feel like just showing off all the idiotic things that happened this season and grouping it into one. But I think there is definitely one moment this season that had even the haters of Gabon laughing their asses off, and that is Randy's fake idol play at the Final 8. What makes this so great was that Randy was going out of his way to piss people off, which especially escalated after Sugar rejected his offer for cookies. And then, Bob, who was in Randy's alliance, made a fake idol simply because he knew the majority would love to see Randy get embarrassed and hoped he could work his way into the majority after this. It's all just hilarious, as basically the entire Fong Alliance couldn't hold back their laughter. The amazing confessionals, it's all just so good.
You are a disgusting, old, hot-headed, chauvinistic, alcoholic, bigot, and you need to grow up before you die alone.
This vote is not strategic. It's strictly personal.
You have made my life hell from day one. To get you, go home, goodbye.
If anybody has the hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so. The rules of Survivor state that if a hidden immunity idol is played, then the votes cast against that person will not count, and the person with the next highest number of votes will be voted out. This is not a hidden immunity idol. All votes cast against Randy will count.
In Season 18, Survivor Tocantins, Survivor produced arguably its best episode ever, The Martyr Approach, as it depicted the wild character of Coach going crazy, living by himself on Exile Island. If there was ever an episode to show off Coach's character, it would be this one.
I will not have anything to eat. It's going to be like the ancient American Indians that are my ancestors. They used to go out into the wilderness for 48 hours, and they would commune with the creator of the universe, and they would become men. Well, I'm already a man, so this will just make me more of a man, but this is going to be an adventure. Been in the Amazon, the Congo, the Orinoco, the Darien Gap. Chalk another one to the list. The dunes at Exile. Coach Wade's body might be failing him in many ways, but Coach Wade still has what it takes to outlast anybody out here in this environment. Period, paragraph.
In Survivor Samoa, Survivor introduced one of its most iconic players ever in Russell Hantz. There's obviously so much to talk about when it comes to Russell, but the main thing that stands out was his ability to find idols without clues. It's the norm in Survivor nowadays, but man, back in Season 19, this was unheard of. So unheard of that after Russell wasted his idol at the Final 12 and didn't go on the reward challenge, the Galoo 7 assumed there was no way he had another idol. And well, they were wrong. And Russell Hantz officially became a Survivor legend with his iconic idol play at the Final 11.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
I ain't finished playing just yet. Keep hope alive.
Russell does not count. Russell does not count. Russell, that's 3 votes Russell, none of them count. Russell does not count. Russell does not count. Russell does not count. We still have no votes for anybody. Russell does not count. Kelly. That's 1 vote, Kelly. 8th person voted out of Survivor Samoa and the 2nd member of our jury. Kelly, that's 3. Tonight, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch. Kelly, the tribe has spoken.
Speaking of idol plays, let's talk about the double idol play in Heroes vs. Villains, shall we? Sure, you could argue that Tyson flipping his vote and getting himself voted out is super iconic, and of course, we got Sandra's second win, but I think the most iconic moment from this season is indeed Parvati's double idol play. And again, it's not just due to how amazing it was. I mean, look at the build up towards this. JT and the Heroes were convinced Russell was on the bottom and gave him an idol to which he gave to Parvati, unaware she already had one. Then at the merge, Amanda, who was a former ally of Parvati, told an obvious lie that she was in trouble. So after Danielle won immunity, Parv knew that the votes were either going on Jerry or Sandra, since the Heroes were hoping Russell was with them. So she ensured the villains the numbers the rest of the way by playing both her idols on Sandra and Jerry. Simply an iconic moment from Survivor's best season.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
You know what, Jeff? I think it would be downright depressing to sit and watch green bananas turn yellow without my debaucherous little villains. So, Sandra, that's for you.
Get out of here, for real?
And Jeff, I would just like to increase our odds. So, Jerry, that one's for you too.
Damn it.
Thanks, Jerry. Sandra?
Wow.
First vote. Jerry, does not count. 11th person voted out and the third member of our jury. JT, that's 3, and tonight that's enough.
Somebody's playing
JT, Travis Boga.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and be on the lookout for part 2 coming out in a couple days. The best way to make sure you don't miss that video and all my future vids is to hit that subscribe button. Also, like the video and leave a comment down below of your favorite iconic moment during the first 20 seasons, and leave some predictions of what you think the iconic moments will be in part 2. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, have a good one.